Hi, my name is Amanda Robinson, and today I'll be talking about analyzing Arizona's language development approach. Arizona's definition of an English learner is guided by the state standards and laws, particularly those following the English language learner programs established under the No Child Left Behind Act. In the state of Arizona, an English language student is one who has a home language other than English and/or scores below a certain proficiency level on an English language proficiency test. Home language is determined through a home survey, which we'll talk about later, and Arizona uses assessment like the English Language Learner Assessment, which we'll also talk about later, to measure students' English proficiency in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. As of the 2021 to 2022 academic year, over 93,000 students representing approximately 8.4% of the state's public school enrollment were identified as English learners. Most of the EL students are of Hispanic or Latino descent. Other represented groups include Asian, African American, and Native American students. EL students who are present across all grade levels, but most of them are enrolled in kindergarten through fourth grade. Kindergarten has the most, standing at about 16%. Why? This is caused by early enrollment, family migration patterns, language acquisition, and demographic shifts. These diverse linguistic and cultural landscape underscores the importance of tailored educational strategies to effectively support Arizona's EL students. Structured English Immersion, also known as SEI, is a teaching approach used in Arizona to help English language learners acquire proficiency in English while also learning academic content. Arizona has mandated SEI as the primary method for instructing EL students in public schools with a focus on language development. Features of the structured English immersion in Arizona include the idea of assisting EL students in building English language development to help students become proficient in English as quickly as possible. The classes are separated and designed specifically to those who require additional English language immersion, classes with a smaller student to teacher ratio, and integration of grade level academic content. This includes math, science, and social studies. Also, all of these classes, these immersion classes, are led by qualified teachers. Although the names of the approaches are similar, SEI and SEI, when we talk about sheltered English instruction versus structured English immersion, they're different in several different ways. This table lists differences in purposes and context. I think the most important is the idea that sheltered English instruction is often used in mixed language classrooms where students are at varying levels of English proficiency, where sheltered English instruction is typically used in a broader range of classrooms, including those with native English speakers. Because each end goal is different, this is actually probably the most important thing. Because the end goal is different, content delivery varies. In summary, structured English immersion in Arizona is a state-mandated intensive program approach aimed at accelerating English proficiency, with the goal to integrate these EL students into one-day mainstream classes. Sheltered English instruction students, or this program, is a broader instructional approach used in various educational settings to make academic content accessible with different adaptations, modifications, and they still work with students who may have different levels of English proficiency. Arizona's language development approach focuses on providing English language learners with a foundation in academic content and English language proficiency. The approach is designed to help EL students access grade level content while acquiring English skills to ensure they succeed in the educational world. There's 4 principles. The first principle emphasizes that language development is gradual, takes time, and involves continuous exposure to languages. The second principle encourages the integration of language with academic content. The third principle ensures that EL teachers are trained to use strategies that help ELs understand. The fourth and final principle stresses the importance of recognizes the differences and the diversity of cultural background of every English learner. The research supporting this approach emphasizes the need for strategic and supportive instruction that addresses both linguistic and cognitive needs of English language learners. Student agency is the ability of students to take control of their own learning. This is vital for English language learners as it creates an environment where ELs feel more comfortable and more in control of their own learning. This is critical for their success in both language acquisition and academic development. By providing opportunities for ELs to set personal goals, select activities, and track their own progress, basically participate in their own learning journey, educators can help them feel more in control. This self-directed approach encourages persistence and resilience. EL students are encouraged to express their own opinions, ask questions, and provide feedback. This setup gives them a sense of voice. Lastly, teachers motivate EL students to take risk, and taking risk builds confidence. Arizona's structured English immersion models are designed to help EL learners acquire proficiency in English while continuing to learn their own grade level content. There's a couple different models. We'll talk about the newcomer model first. The newcomer model is designed for students who are new to the United States and have little to no English proficiency. This model targets students who are in the early stages of learning English and need focused language instruction. The next model is called the pull-out model. In the pull-out model, EL students are temporarily pulled out of their general ed classes for targeted language instruction. The 2-hour model is a daily structured English immersion where EL students are pulled 2 hours out of the day from their normal curriculum to receive 2 hours of focused English language development instruction. The 50-50, it aims to develop both English and Spanish or any other language that they are learning. It doesn't have to be Spanish. This is basically a bilingual approach. So they're learning English as well as another language. This, because it is bilingual, it requires parental consent, as parents must waive the structured English immersion requirement in order to support the idea of learning education in a bilingual environment. In Arizona, determining eligibility for the EL Learner Program involves a multi-step process that includes both the Home Language Survey and the Arizona English Language Learner Assessment, also known as AZELA. This begins when a student is enrolled in an Arizona public school. When a student is enrolled, parents or guardians need to complete a home language survey. The survey asks questions about the student's language background. I live in Michigan, and the same thing happens in Michigan. If the survey indicates that a language other than English is spoken at the home or by the student, the school identifies the student as a potential EL student and proceeds with further testing. This testing is called AZELA. Once a student is flagged, they're required to take the Arizona English Language Learner Assessment. AZELA is an English language proficiency test that measures a student's ability to understand and use English. How does placement work? Well, AZELA is administered to determine the student's level of English language proficiency. It categorizes students into different proficiency levels. Based on the placement score, the school can determine the appropriate level of English language instruction the student needs. This test doesn't just happen once, they're reassessed annually to track the student's progress in learning English. EL students are allowed to use accommodations while they take AZELA. These accommodations ensure that students are demonstrating true language proficiency. Some accommodations include test directions in their native language. This ensures that they understand the directions. It helps reduce confusion related to procedures. Sometimes they're allowed to use bilingual dictionaries. This can be either paper or electronic. This is helpful for students who are still learning English and might need assistance with vocabulary. Directions should be clarified even after they have been read in their native language. This ensures that they fully understand how to complete each section because the assessment is broken up into different sections. ELs may have extended time to complete the test just so that they have time to respond accurately. The test can also be read out loud. They may be involved in small group or individual testing environments, and they can also take breaks throughout the assessment. Parents or guardians of ELs have specific rights when it comes to their child's participations in learning the English language and the services that education offers. These rights include the right to be fully informed, to consent or refuse their child's placement in EL services, and to actively participate in decisions regarding the assessments and the educational journey through the English language. These rights help ensure that parents and guardians can make informed choices for their children.